How many times have you lost marks when answering questions about graphite? This is one of the most important topic and you will always get questions from here. But due to some technical mistakes and lack of understanding, students tend to lose marks when answering questions about graphite. Today we are going to clear all the doubts and all the mistakes once and for all. Let's go. Now let's see how graphite looks like. We have a structure drawn on the board. Now we can see in this structure that these are hexagonal shapes, all the hexagonal shapes, right? And each of this corner actually represents a carbon. Now the bond between them is actually a covalent bond. So we have carbons arranged in hexagonal structure, and the bonds in between the carbons are covalent bonds. So we can easily derive 2 points from here. So graphite has a giant covalent structure that we already know. And second is the structure is actually a hexagonal structure. One thing to know here is that the bonds between carbons and carbons, they are covalent bonds, and we do not have any molecules in there. We have only carbon atoms. The carbon atoms are joined together by covalent bonds, and we know that in covalent bonds we have electrostatic forces of attraction due to the attraction between shared pairs of electrons and the nuclei of the carbons, right? So that is very strong. So all these bonds are only covalent bonds. There are no molecules in there, so there is no intramolecular forces in there. So that is it. We have a hexagonal structure of carbon and it is a giant covalent structure. Now let's see what we can have more from the structure. Now let's discuss about the next 2 points. What we're seeing here is just one layer of the graphite, and in graphite actually there are many layers. Layers means one layer is on top of another one, there's another layer on top of that one, just like that. So graphite has layers. The structure is in layers, hexagonal layers, one top of one another, right? One layer of graphite is called a graphene. One layer of graphite is called graphene. So this is just one single layer and we can call it a graphene. So we can call it a graphene, right? Okay, so graphite has layers in its structure. Now comes the second point. There are weak forces between the layers, and this is very important. That's where students usually go wrong. We do not have molecules in there, and the force is not between molecule and another molecule. So the weak force is not intramolecular force. So we are not going to write there are intramolecular forces between the layers. There are weak forces between the layers. We cannot call it intramolecular force. We have to understand this thing clearly. Why? Because there are no molecules in there. We only have layers and the weak force is between the layers. That's why we are just going to write there are weak forces between the layers. We are not going to mention intermolecular force. Now when we have weak forces, a little amount of energy can overcome those forces. Now due to that, the layers can actually slide over one another. So we can apply a little amount of energy and we can overcome those forces, and then the layers will slide over one another. That means we can break graphite easily. That is why graphite is soft. Now the main question is basically explain why graphite is soft. If you have 5 or 6 marks in the question, you should write all these points and it will make the answer very clear and effective. But if you have like 3 marks or 4 marks, I suggest you to answer with 3, 4, 5 and 6, these 4 points, then you should get full marks without any problem. Now the second part of graphite, why graphite conducts electricity. We know that giant covalent compounds usually do not conduct electricity, but graphite does. Why? There is a detailed video about electrical conductivity of different substances. Graphite is also included there. If you watch that video, you are not going to learn only about graphite, about all the other substances which conduct electricity. You can just press the I button and see that video. I'm sure that is going to help you a lot. That's it for today. In our next video, we're going to talk about another giant covalent structure, diamond. If you liked today's video, please give a like and subscribe the channel. See you in my next video. Thank you.